Addiction thinks in circles, whereas invention thinks in spirals.
Yes. Yes,
And
yes,
I
yes.
love it. And spiral is not one dot, it's actually one seed becoming bigger and bigger and bigger
Mhm.
and bigger and bigger and bigger.
So I'm grateful for that. And then two, just the pain just reminding me like this body is so amazing.
Where else can you go
Hmm.
other than inside? And
Hmm.
when you're so almost like forced to face yourself, you find lots of love. Mm, this one was interesting. Very on point. And I have lots of questions that
Let's
maybe
go.
hopefully you can answer. I mean, we both read this before, huh? Many times.
Yeah, multiple times.
And each time it comes in shock
Felt
with
different,
so
yeah.
much hope.
Hmm.
It's like so much hope because it's very rare to find information that it's optimistic and uplifting
Hmm.
nowadays. And I just happened to finish last night's interview with Elon, and I'm like, why did I even do this? Why did I even put myself
Which one?
into, well, the recent one, 2 days ago, he did it. I
Yeah.
don't know. He was
The
drinking a
three
beer
hour.
with some boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
You watched? Of course you did.
I usually just do highlights. I don't have time for 3 hours of talking, usually.
Yeah. Because they're like, but wow. So coming back to this, it was like, okay, I can start Sunday now. It's not, there's no doomsday. I mean, there is, but in a sense.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I was reflecting on some of the more local changes with like AI and all that stuff and how it plays a role here in 55. And there's a bit of there's a bit of art in his writing of the book itself and also of the gene keys. And in this gene key, there's a lot of art because he's being transmitted like the very high level macro, like thousands of years transitions, and then at some in like more specific topics, he's like education. He's like, oh, okay, this is over the next like 40 to 100 years that it's going to occur, and he's having to like parse out like the big changes and then like the more localized. And in that I'm it's I think he mentioned it too. We're going to stop asking the question how and start to
Mhm.
rest in just like what's emanating out and what we're participating in. And yeah, I'm curious what's your jumping off point from there?
I love the ending because he's like, this is just intuitive feeling of what is coming that he chopped in a couple different sections.
Mm-hmm.
But really what I loved, it was his art of writing. You're absolutely right because, it is very, I think it's very easy in the times that we're in is to fill up with fear faster
Mm-hmm.
just because it's less and less unknown. And we talked about this on the last one, on a few last sections, videos that we recorded. It's so easy to get into that vortex that you have to actually put much more effort. This is my experience. You have to put much more effort to stay in the loop of what is happening because you want to not participate, but you want to be aware of what is happening, but also put a lot of effort to close off the vortex
Mm-hmm.
and almost back off from it. So it takes a lot of control and awareness. And I love that he touches base on that exact thing. It's like our awareness is going to be, in a sense, helping us figure out this like leap naturally that is occurring. So I'm very lighthearted after reading his art of writing,
Hmm.
especially after last night's going to bed. And I'm like, wow, what is the point? Because at some point you ask yourself, what
Yeah.
is the point? It's
What's the
like,
point?
you know, I could, it makes me, why do you want to replicate humanity? It's like, wait, do you ask yourself? It's like, do you ask yourself, why do we need a backup plan for humanity that it's robotic? It's like, it doesn't make sense. A lot of things don't make sense when you listen to the interview and
Hmm.
their push, regardless of what we say or not. So yeah, you can you can get really sucked into it and totally lose the sense of, oh my God, the value, the worth, the beingness, to be here, to and etc. So this was refreshing for a morning.
Hmm. Yeah, and to me, I have an interpretation which is um, accepting of both realms of both evolutions. And before it was like, this seems highly technological and very anti, like anti human evolutionary in a sense, because it's like we um we give our power away and then we stagnate potentially. That's the idea of what will occur. But actually
Mm,
it's like what happens with a bunch of time and space and the ability and then increase in emotions, the ability to feel into the collective consciousness. Like it's to me it's I can see them integrated as well. If we have a majority of the fears and worries that we used to carry somewhat taken care of, or at least assisted, so that we can focus our energies on different pursuits, or just in being. What does it mean to be human and having relationship? And also too, Richard, like had forgotten this in 55, and he's like, but yeah, our population is going to severely decline because the sexual nature is going to be transmuted into something else. And I'm like, holy shit, I totally forgot about this. And
hmm.
there's a bit of panic there, like, wait, we're just gonna
Decline.
decline forever. It's like, well, it's kind of scary, but it's like that, even if it even if population halves every generation, it's like you're still talking billions of humans for the next hundreds of years. And then yeah, I don't know. It's wildly interesting, and it's like on the one hand, my mind wants to hold on
AI.
to like how it looks like. I want to like paint it out, just talk about it, describe it. And on the other hand, I'm like reminded, much like hearing Elon talk about the way he sees it going. It's like at some point we have to just really just trust that we're taken care of on some level, and that it's gonna be for our greatest benefit, and that comes down to the local moment of like we have collective fear. And in the local
Uh-huh.
moment, like where is my trust sitting, or how far away is it, and how can I access it, and what do I need to in 59? How do I be transparent enough to release these things I'm holding on to? And can I just be
Mm,
transparent in like what I'm struggling with? Can I be transparent in the the difficulties in my personal relationships and what I'm facing every day? And then on the other side of that, there's a sense of peace, because we think it's the big things that scare us. It's really just our personal lives and where we find meaning.
survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're saying it's like we will be taken care of. I heard you say this 3 times already, and every time you say it, I want to grab onto it because it does. He does outline the victim consciousness because this being taken care of someone else who is running the show, let's say universe or a human being who is launching humanoids, right? Whatever. It's such a hard thing to accept because we have been programmed and conditioned to contribute in order to find our value in whatever exchange that is happening at the time that we live in. So it is such a hard concept for me to grasp that I will be taken care of and that I will have, I don't mind having all the time for myself. That I don't mind. But this fear and this victim consciousness are literally lights up, literally when you say that word, because something inside of me is like, there's no way. There's no way I can trust them that much to take care of me. Right. Or there's no way I would be taken care of that I don't have to really fight for survival, food, shelter,
Hmm.
water. Basic needs, basic needs.
So in your experience, would you say your most difficult moments in life, you were the one that like put your boots on and figured it out?
Yeah.
You never had a moment where you were like, "Oh, that was complete providence and I could have done it myself," and someone came along and it was perfect timing and
Oh gosh, no, not even in my childhood. Unless I was fed by my mother, but yeah, no, I simply do not have a concept of it in this life. What does it mean to be taken care of?
so that's
Taken
very
care
interesting.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can see, yeah, why you're facing that from a different
Mm.
perspective, from a different lens. Because for me, I am like I have countless examples of things just working out and me having no part in whether it did or didn't.
Oh, you mean in that sense? No, I'm talking basic survival needs. I'm only talking food, shelter, water. A lot of
Oh,
things
okay.
did happen to digress me. I call it an invisible hand that just pulls me out and places me here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just went out for a second. I can hear you now.
The invisible hand that is just pulling me out. That I have. I have a trust in universe. I have a trust in my
Mm-hmm.
path. I have that innate connection with that which I don't see. But
Mm-hmm.
the trust in humans, these humans that are, multiplying robots from the space and energy of solar system and stuff like that. That to me is like, whoa. I can't. I don't know if you know what you're doing, but to
Mm.
trust them enough to feed me. So, and this, to a sense, actually turns on my survival on, okay, well, I can build my shelter, I can plant my food, and I can share my food, and I can find the water. So that is innate backup plan, shall I say.
Mm-hmm.
And, but it's just very, very scary. I guess what I'm trying to say, it pulls you back into that uh, victim consciousness, victim consciousness even more, especially when you're hearing concepts such as, um, I don't know, he has a name for it, where, massive jobs will be replaced. Who's going to pay for whatever, the cost of living that it's very high, especially in the cities. Will there be a massive migration even elsewhere?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't help but not to wonder about these concepts, but the victim consciousness comes in and grapples you so much. It's insane. That's why I'm saying it's like, it's so easy to get fearful, full of fear. Um, at least to me, that I have to put a lot of effort into picking and choosing what information so that way I can actually surrender to what is happening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a
And
lot, and this year is a lot already, and it's going to increase just the amount of information that we're receiving and downloading and being exposed to.
yeah.
So there's that level of like how well are you protecting your nervous system and then I think the purpose behind it is so that we become highly attuned and aware of how powerful we actually are through our nervous system, through our ability to sense on a deeper level. But for a lot of people, this is a new experience, a new sensation. So the anxieties seem like something that needs to be solved or fixed or
Hmm.
medicated. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, there's a different path. And yeah, you and I are at
Hmm.
something was like, are you sure? But you and I are at the forefront of exploring our own potential in that way, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I call it a washing machine on delicates. When you wash the delicates, it's like you thread slowly and you're just slowly patting it. But it's washing it
Mm.
clean. It's like I don't know how else to process other than really feel everything and really take time. And I think it does invite a lot of slowing down to be present with occurrences inside. And somewhere there, miraculously, once it's over, which is always over, the cycle of this wave of a light comes up, right? Meaning, oh, the new day occurs, you're
Yeah.
refreshed with energy, a new
Hmm.
information comes in, flows in, and then you feel again. And as an artist in this life, it's like, it's really interesting. But when it grips like that, the time is forever for it. The
Yeah.
concept of it. And you see that awareness. I was like, wow, I feel like this is gonna get me to my grave. But yet I
Yeah.
know it's
Hmm.
gonna end. It's just a matter of time. So let me see where I can soften to it.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a parallel that's coming up for me, which is you mentioned washing machine. I was just thinking about the waves like at the beach we go to because when they're a little bit bigger, if you're standing in the exact correct spot, you get sucked into this washing machine and you
Hmm.
have to like wait. You have to like wait until usually because it's like a big wave goes up on the beach, another big wave comes and it sucks you into the bottom of it. If you're standing in that spot, the waves meet together and you're just spinning around, tossed around. And
Hmm.
that's we just like, oh, you got in the washing machine. Um, but there's a parallel. I was just teaching Luca swimming in the ocean. He's been doing really well these past couple of weeks. And there was a bigger set that came in, so it's like three or four waves. And sometimes when it's really big, the the pull out is stronger than the push in for whatever reason. And there's really almost, unless you're like a phenomenal swimmer and you're like sprinting, there's really nothing you can do to get yourself on the beach. And so you can
Hmm.
panic that you're not getting closer. You're actually feeling like you're getting farther away and you're trying your best and you're swimming hard and you're panting and you're like panicking because you're like, how long is this going to last? And it just keeps going because the waves themselves, they take, you know, 30 seconds each. So you're talking like 3 minutes of you thinking, how am I going to get
Yeah.
out of this? I'm going further and further away and I'm working so hard to get closer. And so I had to just teach them like this is what happens when there's a big set. So the best thing for you to do is to just stay stationary. And actually when you're not fighting against it, you don't move around as much. You're not going to get pulled out as much. And then
Mm.
once you feel the water's calm, then you can come in. You've conserved your energy for that moment. And it's like all that to say, for some people, they need to experience this ego death. They need to
Hmm.
experience this feeling of like, oh my God, I can't get back because there's some it's a deeper processing. It's like a deeper purging that needs to happen. Um,
Yeah.
but but for those that are aware, it's like when you feel this resistance, there's a point to it. There's a point to like I want to fight against it, and instead just being in the moment and being again going. I really think transparency is a really good like beacon of light here of just being transparent about what you're going through and allowing that to just be real with it instead of trying to fight to get back to like the way it was yesterday or the way it's
Mm.
supposed to be, allowing it
Yeah.
to be. And then, like you said, you wake up the next morning and the sunlight feels different and you're not as anxious. And yeah.
Yeah, allowing it to be softening to it, trusting that it will end. I think this itself is new because many things are occurring so fast. And I like to say, back in the day, in our 20s, as it was like 20 centuries ago, uh, you know, you had one timeline that was so long and you worked for one thing in the end of your life and you looked forward for the future that was consistent. Now the future is not consistent, rather it's more changeable, and that makes you shrink your timeline. And when your timeline shrinks, these cycles come occurring more frequently. And in each cycle of the wave that you get in, like you said, these 30 seconds of survival feels like you will never come back to it. But
Mhm.
what, like you said, it grows awareness that these things do end, that you stay put, duck down, or just relax and surrender and see what happens.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember, if you can, I mean, this takes a level of like having the experience to understand it, but you remember that this is an illusion.
Oh,
You
this is a
know,
dream. This is a dream.
this is,
This is
yeah, this is a collective hologram that we're projecting out from some central mind. So,
So I feel that it's easier for us to let go just because we're Pisces and we do flow in this emotional wave of oceans, even when we are not aware. I think, and I often wonder, how can it feel for other people that don't simply have the fixity and rigidity of total structure? And it's like, I can only imagine how freezing it is to let go of something that made you feel so safe for whatever reason. And it's very interesting. That's why I say it's like when you find, I'll backtrack, I'll exit the freeway for a second. I was telling my friend, because now I'm pulling a bunch of people to go to the gym with me, which is interesting. And everybody wants to go because I'm like, once you find one to two to three ingredients in the gym, you're gonna go because you feel seen, welcomed, safe, loved, and you like that environment. So music coaches and how personal they become with you, it's going to make you want to come back for that, not to
hmm.
look good. So the looking good or losing weight becomes totally not even something you are thinking about when you're going to the gym. But once you find that environment, that area, you're going to know what your body needs in order for you to continue physical activity. And I've been through many gyms here in LA until I found the one that actually suits me. Energy, vibe, the
Hmm.
setup, the openness, the music, everything is like perfect. So I'm bringing a lot of people just to show them that, and I'm not actually consciously doing this. I'm like, yeah, just
Yeah.
come join. And they do. And when they do, they love it. And I was like, okay, well,
Hmm.
my job is done here. Now off you go, do your thing. Don't glue
Hmm.
yourself to me because it's like, we don't need to partner together in a station. Leave me alone, right? I have my own pace. I like my own thing.
Hmm.
So off you go. You're good to go. And it's incredible how much it means to have such a good example of something that your body actually learns. Oh, no matter what, I feel now great with this. So my colleague drives 35 minutes just to come to the gym. And I'm so proud of him because anywhere he goes, he can find that air environment that he feels very welcome to. Sidetrack for that was, wow, what were we talking about? I actually took off far away. Oh,
Sorry, I was losing audio a little bit.
we were talking about loosening up and softening into the waves, right? But also
Hmm.
having a good example of where, like having an example that suits you. So you no longer understand why, but your whole concept about it changes. That's what I was trying to say. It's like, yes, the waves can be cyclical, the waves of emotional expressions or wounding or trauma coming in, or, like everything can be cyclical and the same. But awareness that you can change the environment, you can use a different information that can actually invite you into the different way of processing is everything. When you have an example and you have a will to try something new, to try a different angle, all this to say it's easy for us to try and mutate
Hmm.
through the changes. And I can only imagine how it is for the fixed people that like the same cycle, the same thing, the same thing. And I don't want to think that these will be the people that will be having the hardest time and probably the ones to leave the earth faster.
Mm.
But
Right.
it's, yeah, there's a chilling feeling because I've known a lot of people that are rigid and fixated, and there's just a chilling feeling inside the body that, wow, you have to learn how to go with the flow. Otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah, hard, hard,
Yeah,
hard,
there's
hard bite to bite.
yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be yeah. I'm reflecting on with Carly here. She's double cancer and cardinal water, like this. It really feels like she's the first to feel everything, or
Mhm.
she's at
First
the
swaying over the
forefront.
river.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and she's kind of like there, and people don't really see her in that way, but she's really there to be the leader in how things feel and her emotional states. And just yesterday, she was like, "Oh, I'm just having a little bit of a panic attack because, I'm just reading this book and it's talking about it was young and he was talking about how this life is an illusion and how we have to process our fear of death." And she was
Hmm.
like, "Yeah, I thought I've done this work already and like my fear of death, and I haven't really um felt this in years." And for some reason she was feeling it yesterday. And so I came in with my Mercury and Aquarius mind and just laid it all out for her. And I was like, "You feeling better?" She's like, "Not really." She's like, "I like hearing your voice though." Um,
Oh, I love
but it's
it.
yeah, it's cool to
Yeah.
see her in a new light of, I'm really learning in a way like the detachment in our relationship to her emotional states. Whereas before I was like taking responsibility for her emotional states. Like, oh, I need to fix something. And then she feels my neediness and it creates more of this
Hmm.
spiraling into relationship hell. Um, Whereas now I'm like, okay, let me, even when it's painful to experience it, let me just allow you the space to feel what you're feeling and trust that there will be a new day. And really I see myself, as much as I think I have a lot of things figured out, I was getting in the washing machine of the personal emotions. And I was fighting the current in a way, and instead of just allowing it to be there and saying like, if it's here, then there's a reason. If it's here, then it's valid and you're welcome to feel it. And not until I have done that in this past week have we both seen like the evolution out of it. And it was just so natural, like a crab coming out of the beach sand.
Hmm.
Ironically, it was just like, "Oh, hi, you're here." And
Uh-huh.
it's sunny and it's nice and
See?
yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah. And it does pass. And it continues. And another
Hmm.
one comes and then it does pass and then it continues. And these occurrences are happening more frequent and almost like they're speeding up in a sense, and they will be more and more frequent, which raises our awareness of that exact cycle of, oh, but this is not real. Wait, this
Yeah.
this is not real. Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And I
Interesting.
have I have almost daily moments now of like I don't really feel it in my body, but I can tell that there's like constriction and resistance of like these little panic moments of like, oh, well, I got to figure this out and I have this to do, this to do, this to do, this to do. And I go, wait a minute. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, right, 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 right. I I could easily go down that track and it would be endless. Like we think like we can knock out the list and then
Oh yeah. And list
smooth
just
sailing.
becomes bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I had
Hmm.
that at work all the time. Even today at work, I was like, oh my God, I have to go back to office Saturday and Sunday. I decided on Friday. Then Saturday wakes up, and I'm like, oh hell no. Oh hell no.
Good for
It's like,
you.
no, this is not. And it's waiting for me on Monday. So I was like, I'll go tomorrow, which is today. And I was like, oh, absolutely not. I do not want to sacrifice my lovely Sunday. It's Mother's Sunday. I consider
Yeah.
myself my own mom.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the day when I put the mask on, when I
Hmm.
file my nails. No, I'm not going to do this for work, which will replace me anyway. So why
Right.
do you do this? And then it becomes really funny But what I want to come back to quickly, because he does talk about the sacred marriage and changes in I versus we. I think this is
Hmm.
really cool. And I want to touch base. You said something. I felt responsible for someone else's emotional states, feelings, or hurt. And this is something that we know how to do very well in relationships. It's like, not only do you feel that you did something wrong, but you also have
Hmm.
a needs that were not met. But plus, on the top of that, then you become somehow responsible for the other's processing. And that click, yeah. But you see,
Interesting.
it's like we lived in it outside of ourselves oftentimes in relationships. So I then
Hmm.
becomes you. And I thinks that you can change, you should change, and I can help you. But really, in reality, we're slowly realizing this is not what is occurring, right? So I love how you said my responsibility is no longer that across me, it's me,
Hmm.
right? It's like this click comes in play with relating is like, oh, but I trust you, you will figure out how to process yourself. And because this is something else is occurring inside of me, I'm going to do my work here. And we're still
Yeah.
here. We're staying under the same thing. That's where that shared purpose comes in, or a promise to come back to keep the two together while they're processing independently their own thing without pulling each other back and forth. I love that. And I
Hmm.
can see this already occurring, not only in a partnerships or marriage, but also in a different ships, in different
Hmm.
ships,
Hmm.
friendships, connections, situationships too. It's like, yeah, no, your thing. You're gonna deal with your thing. I
Hmm.
can't help you. In a sense, I can't help you anymore. And also to add to that, this responsibility that you feel for someone else's processing is a necessary burden in a sense that we're taking on just because we don't want to deal with our own. So it's easier to deal with someone else's burden. And that also awareness is arousing us into a different way of approaching someone else. Oh, you need a moment? Take your moment.
Hmm.
I'll be here.
Yeah, and just from a personal standpoint, I couldn't even see the boundary between what was hers and what was mine. I just felt like to me it was like there isn't a
Hmm.
boundary, and that's something for
So
Pisces to work
Piscean.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're feeling that? Like, okay, let's I have to step in then and find a way through. And then I have, Aries getting me in trouble there too. Like, I'll do anything to get back to,
Mm,
yeah. So yeah, of course, in hindsight, I have the awareness now of like it's hers and this is mine and I can use it for reflection. But in the moment, like you couldn't convince me that
I
that it
get
was
it.
separate. Yeah, it was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
So all that to say, it's, this coming evolution of relationships is it's probably going to be pretty painful across the board in a lot of ways, but in hindsight we'll look back and be like, oh, the pain was releasing us from this long-term pattern that is far more painful, really. It's much
Yeah.
lighter to be self-responsible and then just moving forward through it. I want to touch on too, and curious how you view this, but uh the sexuality itself, the sexual nature transmuting into more creative forces. And
Mm, so good.
yeah, what came up for you in that? Anything?
So good. So in the merge that you're talking about, a merge, union with another, I think you're talking about something that is has no persona at all involved. There's no logic in it. There's no, because we're naturally going to one as if you're feeding from the source. So the boundary for us dilutes itself because there is none. And to love from that level is not logical and does not fit any structure. So it defies and it destroys the structure And now the shared promise is not just surviving or like almost like the system of marriage as example. Now the shared promise should be something so much bigger and deeper that I talk about this all the time, that I will love you even if I don't tell you I love you, but you will feel me. So my experience of love itself will evolve and change, in which will no longer be assigned to the physical needs for sex or for nuclear family reproduction, right? So that itself will change in a sense. And I'm not saying I've had different experiences, but I no longer can actually experience just connection just because of the sexual
Mm.
arousal, right? So it comes united on everything that I'm aware of, which is many, many layers, and it's so much deeper there, which you and I
Like
no longer exist.
you can't separate it out and
No.
just have fun and then carry on. It's like it comes with the depth that you don't really want to access when you're trying to have fun.
Yeah, you can access when you want to have fun. So it's not fun, it's serious.
Yeah.
It becomes so serious. It's sacred and private and intimate and translucent, transparent. It becomes so deep that your soul is getting touched in a sense. And you're almost like, see, weird words. You're almost like you mark your experience with brand new understanding of self.
Mm. Yeah.
And you can't choose who this happens with. That's why it's like, oh, currently at the moment, okay, I am in the such a good pause for a moment. And I love the pause where I get to breathe myself through my life. I get to understand myself without such a merge.
Hmm.
Because really, if I ask you, who are you without Carly, would you know how to tell me?
No,
Yeah,
not right
for
now. Yeah.
Pisces, it's hard because we identify with the one, and
Mm.
especially the one in front of us is everything that we know of. So we don't know where this boundary comes in. But to find yourself, which is what you're doing, is, well, I actually need to understand myself. Technically, what you're doing is you pull all this energy that was there towards you. So your whole attention and intention is now to get to know yourself because
Hmm.
you don't know who you are without it. I know that feeling very well. So I'm in a sacred pause right now, how I like to call it, because I'm getting to intimately know who I am
Mm.
becoming
Yeah.
without having anyone, without merging and emerging from. I'll get there eventually, one day. But there's also a beautiful inner, I was reading David White's, and he has a beautiful book called Three Marriages. It's love, beautiful way of like explaining that we're actually married three times. We are in three marriages at the same time: marriage with self, marriage with the other, and marriage with what we do, vocation. And these three, if we decline one, or if if one pulls us away, like work, for example, you see, if it pulls me away from the two also marriages that are equally important for me, I will feel unfulfilled. So all three play a very big role in us because you want to have your vocation, you want to contribute to the world, you also want to know yourself, and you want to have in love. So really, what is the happiness when you really think about it? Someone to love, something to do, and a hope for something,
Mm.
hope for something else. It's like you're literally thinking like, wow, so now I'm three of me with three marriages that I have to take care of, and each has a part of me that doesn't blend but yet is necessary for life, for me to be fulfilled and happy.
Mm.
Very interesting.
It is interesting. And um, this past week, well, a couple weeks, I've been very transparent about my need for freedom and my sense of freedom. And there's been a lot of unpacking. Like you'd think it would just be like the initial conversation and then we're good, but
Yeah.
it's like unpacking afterwards, kind of like what did I mean by that, or what does that look like, and it's interesting how it's so much more than an idea of like it's not an idea of what freedom looks like. I don't really have that idea. It's just this sense and this feeling, this sensation, um, this vibration and this feeling of openness.
Mm.
And then what comes out of that or what's met with that feeling of openness, I can't possibly define because then I wouldn't be free anymore. So it's like
Hmm.
it's in that sense, even when you describe these three marriages, I'm like, well, I and this is just me, right? Because I have this 55 life work is I'm like, don't put me in either of those boxes. Don't put me in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
box of the triangle. Yeah, and I'm noticing my resistance
Resistance.
to it, of course, but uh there's there's validity to that as well because it wasn't until I saw how enmeshed that Carly and I were with business, with her business, and how it was causing rifts in our personal marriage, and how it was confusing me on my own, the marriage to myself, and where I stood, and like what I want, and it was so enmeshed that it wasn't until I was like, let's separate the business piece, and then I was like, almost immediately, once I separated that, I saw her in a new light in the relationship, and I was like,
Mm.
I'm like, oh, now I can actually honor this piece more strongly and let you have the vocation without me getting involved in it and thinking I need to be a part of every single thing that you're doing. Um, and then the third layer is that personal relationship. So it's almost like, and maybe this is just how I approached it, but this could be a model for other people too, is like look at the vocation because it's the easiest one to approach and to change, and then look at the interpersonal dynamics and then look at your dynamic with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This triangle keeps coming back. It's like when we lose the connection with self, we won't have connection with other, and because of that, we won't have connection with everything in life, right? So anything or everything in life. It's very interesting. And I'm like you, do not box me and do not tell me what I need to do with my life, right?
Hmm.
Ooh, this is so keenly strong. Oh, early morning. He's still sleeping.
He's mad. He wants his dad in the morning.
You want to go?
No, we're good. Um,
There's another one. Hi, hi,
yeah, there's three here.
all three.
Gemini Jace, you want to say hi? Um, I just
Mm.
noticed your core wound, your sphere of core wound is around preservation, and I felt that coming up when we were talking about how you watch Elon Musk and you're like, oh, what's the point? And we're gonna be replaced anyway. This
But
sense
this
of
idiot, oh, sorry,
uh,
who's pushing us to this. I get it. I mean, but you see, it's like I think these things come up, and rather than listening to them, I welcome them. Tell me exactly what you think. And what's interesting is also I'm discovering a lot of these parts that are also dark, like
hmm,
darker on a darker shadow side. It's like we do have parts of us that is also ignorant and mean and hellish and evilish, right? But the I'm aware when that arises, meaning I am welcoming that too, rather than, oh, no, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to be this part of me that naturally lives inside of us. And what he says, if we, how did he mention here? We would certainly destroy ourselves. Where did he say? Yeah. The irony is that if humanity were not in the grip of this world's mutation, we would inevitably destroy ourselves. So, like
Mm.
he's
Yeah.
explaining the gripping, the gripping, the gripping for survival. And if we didn't, we would probably destroy ourselves because we would prematurely not be ready to evolve. And we are in the midst of this leap into the new epoch, which we are becoming ready more and more to enter into that, which we don't know, or which is our next step of conscious evolution.
Mm.
So this lives in all of us, right? But it was suppressed, and to really feel to in the times where we're in to really disregard that part of us, which is part of our core wounds, abandonment and rejections and the death and preservation and it's like you can no longer ignore it and to really think that it's all a happy pink life. No, both parts of coin are equally powerful and operating inside. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah,
there
and
for
you
sure, but
bring you bring the valid acceptance, like the acceptance itself, to the conversation. So it's like I was just reflecting on, okay, this you have this piece of your core wound around preservation, and the shadow there is failure. It's also the sphere of your vocation, like what you're here to do. And it's interesting to look at maybe how you interact on an interpersonal level and what you bring to the table, at least, and I can only speak for me, like what you've helped me with, but it's the sense of acceptance for all parts. And
mm,
by the nature of transparency, like through that transparency, accessing the deepest parts of myself and then bringing them to the fore and then transmuting the shadows into higher potential.
yeah, the the talk with the self. Have a coffee. Let's be neighbors. Let's
Yeah,
have
be
a coffee.
curious, right? Curious and playful.
Yeah, and also, how much of this that comes into your mind do you actually identify with as yours?
Mm-hmm.
How much of this emotional feeling that you're processing is actually yours? You, especially you who takes the entire ocean. You, me, rather than someone who knows exactly I'm processing this. Like there are people that know exactly that's mine, that's yours. I don't want to deal with yours, but we are having a hard time with it because we operate in the entire ocean, especially if you have a heavy Piscean chart. And I think this is the future.
Yeah.
I do. I really do. Because yes, we're closing some cycles, but at the same time, unless I feel I am just an empty shell
Mm.
and there's no diamond there. And unless I go deep, as much deep, it's just my observation. My observation.
Mm.
And the deeper the shell goes in the ocean, the bigger the diamond, or the more beautiful and unique it is. My observation.
Mm. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. So make me feel. If you can make me feel something, wow, I love you more for that. Make me feel anything. Let me get mad because that's the passion. I'm angry at you. Actually means I'm full of passion that I don't know. I need to find a different outlet for. Yeah. Yep. Your whole self opens up to a different force inside of you operating.
Mm. Do you
Yes.
still find like where are you emotionally now compared to 2 years ago, let's say?
Oh, well, I think the last 2 years were the worst parts of my life, in a sense, when it comes to emotion. Um, but now on the other side of the grass or of the world, I think because I was so open to feel everything, um, I grew so much more space for everything to be felt over and not over again, but even more to that extent that I am more mature in the way I process my emotions because I don't really react to them any longer. But I did have I did have a lot of pain in the last 2, 3 years, actually. And the fact that this is why I go back to astrology. So the fact that I've been feeling this for 13 years, for 11 years in Neptune and Pisces, it's like, yeah, it actually came to crescendo in the last 3 years. It was my crescendo of feeling, not knowing what's mine, what's not. Like, can I dissolve completely? And why does it hurt so much to become one, right?
Hmm.
Especially if you're in a union with someone. So it was all kinds of fears and wounds and core deep pain of heart and the sense of total must close but I can't, so let's feel more. And I loved it, but now I'm on the other side. Now I'm like, okay. Whew, now I feel bigger for the sense of having a bigger capacity to feel even more. And I'm not shying away or closing off. Rather, my heart cracked wide open to the experience of everything.
Hmm. Hmm. So do you
And
think, yeah,
uh
go ahead.
just to say, if I really think what the dark night of the soul is, I think I had few. I think myself had to die so many times, literally here on the floor, over and over and over again. And I'm like, maybe that's what it was. Because, you gasp out everything that is you, and it hurts like 1,000 knives in the heart at the same time.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So do you think I'm just curious on your view of like, do you think we develop callousness to the same sensations? Do you think something is changing in us and how we are processing the emotional states? Do you think there's an evolution of consciousness so it doesn't plunge as deep? And of course, astrologically, like it is certainly changing, but we're still in that. Well, I guess we just left the anaretic degree, right? So we are
Mm.
emerging out of it now into the new. But there was, Carly and I were talking yesterday, and there was this at some point. I forget what we were talking about specifically, but I was like, yeah, we either develop. I think we were talking about swimming in the ocean with the kids, and I was like, yeah, we either develop the ability to handle it, or we change the behavior so that we don't face that same obstacle again. It's like if it's too much for you, you can just not go in the waters. Otherwise, you have to learn to swim. And that might be like the
Yeah.
old way of looking at it, but it does still hold some truth. Um, so how do you view like do you view your own evolution as developing some callousness or a deeper understanding or yeah.
Mm. You know, where where the scars are, you feel the numbest, actually the pain on the scar, because the skin becomes so thick for healing
Hmm.
that you almost have no sensations on. And I don't know if you have any scar on your body
Yeah, I
or
do.
and try to tap it. And, even if you callus here, if you tap it, it's so thick that you really actually can't feel anything, you can peel the skin off from it.
Hmm.
And it's dead. So to answer, no, I do not feel dead in feeling after feeling hurt. Rather, I feel I can even hurt so much more. But I think what changes is my understanding of the pain. Rather than looking at it from the victimized standpoint, I'm looking at it as, oh, I need you so you can show me. There's a personal connection to the experience of pain, experience of sorrow, of loss. because really what you're losing is what you believe it was supposed to be, but yet something happened that it's not that what you thought it would be, and you kind of got almost this initiation into the process of now understanding the new that comes in. When we look at the pictures, this is all dead. This is no longer. If we really, because the moment it stays, it's printed, it's taken as a photo, it is written, it is not in now. So if I'm operating out of the past of what it was, I'm not allowing myself to be in it now. So what is occurring in my moment? So when I read or when I think of the past of emotional processing, it's like, okay, well, I'm obviously processing the same emotion differently now. What changed? So all this to say, it's like yes, it opened you up to more feeling. It opened me up to feel deeper. But the deeper I go, the higher I get. And I think this space of my experience of what is occurring has enlarged so much, so much. And can I just add one more thing? And you know what I think it enlarged so much because I was able to connect with self and understand myself because I had enough time in my own space of processing to actually talk to myself. Enough time, enough safety in the space, in solitude. It's like, okay, well, I had actual time every morning to dedicate to silence so that way I can find what is occurring to me. And this is such a slow process. It doesn't happen just because I don't know. It's not like I'm gonna lose weight if I go to the gym for a week. No, you actually have to stay in with it. But it
Mm.
only occurred because I was, and I'm not saying being with someone means you're not your full self anymore. How do you find your fullness, your whole self, while you're with someone? It's very challenging because of the blending of the energy. So you almost have to ask for that time so you can meet
Hmm.
yourself in your private chambers of your own processing. And if that takes, you would want to have a, this is my ideal, this is what I learned I need from a partner. So right up front, I need a lot of space.
Hmm. Yeah. You need the
Find
freedom.
me. Yeah, and once I find me, I'm going to be able to be with you who I truly am. So you're not going to wake up 2 years later and be like, oh my God, who are you? You know? Interesting.
Well, yeah.
You've been in a long-term relationship. I'm talking a strange
Yeah.
language to you, probably.
Well, I'm like reflecting because we both have changed so much. I've probably been the one to be more mutable, more changing. Um, and she would say like you're not even close to the same person as when we met. And I would say the same about her in a lot of ways, but she has more consistent traits that carry through, whereas um, my very personality has shifted in a large way. But it's kind of bringing up um, I forget where he said this in this section, but he talked about the longing itself
Hmm.
becoming transmuted into something. I don't know if you highlighted it, but
I know. Um, it's not
I
technology.
I thought it would be like emotions and decisions. Um, yeah.
Hmm, hmm.
Hmm. I don't. Maybe I dreamt. Maybe I dreamt that I read that.
No, I know it's here. You're right. I just can't find it.
It was just like this transmutation of this, or it's like we have to like touch the collective longing. We have to deepen into it and really be truthful. And I think this is where he talked about transparency as well. Um, Being honest with that sense of separation and needing something to fill this hole that we have. And instead, what we're entering into is this more comfortable awareness that it just exists. It's just part of being a human being. And then as we progress further along, and this is on like a pretty large time scale, we transmute that all together and we have this calm, we have this
Hmm.
emotional stability that we carry with us out of that.
Peacefulness in the eye.
Hmm. Yeah.
So do you feel this occurring in your relationship as you change?
When yeah, like locally, like currently, right now, yeah, it's happening on a pretty wild pace. But there's like, it's like we dive in and we come out, we dive in, come out. Um, but in me just like claiming freedom and being like, I no longer, I no longer will put that aside. And it's interesting because it's like it sounds like I'm requesting it from her. It sounds
Mm,
like I'm not getting something from her, or I'm not having my needs met from her, or I need something outside of her.
mm,
And what actually in the initial conversation, that's how it's interpreted. Of course, double cancer, she's just got to process it, right? And then on the other side of that, we're both sensing. I'm like, well, I've been keenly aware, and I try to communicate that this is really more of a feeling. It's just a feeling of freedom itself than it is like the idea of something. And she's like, oh yeah, I didn't really get that when you first told me. And so it's like this unfolding. And then there's also this other side where she notices like, oh, it doesn't like the freedom itself doesn't come with a concept of what it looks like. Therefore, her fears of what it might be, she gets to then let go of that because it's like, oh, this doesn't come with the baggage that she thought it did. She thought in, we went through this 2 years ago in like a very painful, misunderstood way. And everyone that I talked to during that time was interpreting it as a sexual relationship dynamic. And I'm like, the more I contemplate that, because there was a piece of it that I was like, sure, maybe, I don't know, I just want freedom. But the more I contemplate it, more people challenged me on it. I was like, I don't even consider it because, like you said, I was awakening into this part of myself where I'm like, I can't, I can't just go and have fun anymore in that way, like sexually. There's, there's a depth that I can't deny in myself, and it's hard for me. And part of the freedom is like opening up my own heart to everyone that I meet and interact with. So in that space, I can't just take someone in one aspect and then deny the rest of them. I also can't just show up and not show everything that I am. Therefore, that's like to enter into play, call it. It it's like you said, it's serious, and I just don't see that happening easily. It would have to be like a very synchronistic occurrence. And in that sense, it's like, let it be. I'm letting go of the rest. So there's just like, there's levels of unfolding that are occurring as I step towards freedom into my truth and what that looks like. And also like the transparency evolves. The transparency evolves. Initially, it's crude and it's like it's a statement and it's very rough and it's like there's edges to it, like do not trespass. And now it's just like it's more ethereal, like it's more there's more blending, but there's this sense of um inner peace and calm around the decision itself of like yes, like because I know what freedom tastes like and I know I can have it in my marriage. I know I can have it as a dad. I know I can have it as someone who reads the Gene Keys and has a podcast. I know I can have it as a friend. I know I can have it when I'm swimming in the ocean by myself.
Hmm.
It's like it doesn't have a set of rules that come with it by its nature. And this might sound obvious in talking about freedom, but it's like not until you go through it do you realize the evolution that can occur inside you because it is a new concept in terms of living it out and experiencing freedom itself. It is new in this world, and we have to find our way through that and find what emerges for each of us as we explore in those waters.
Mm-hmm. And when you really think about it, freedom as a word is such a vast concept, and we only know of that through political, a revolutionary fighting way of understanding freedom. So when you talk about it, and even when you sit and talk to self about it really is more helpful to exchange it with someone else so you can define it. The exchange with another, especially a partner, about it and talk about it, discussion about it, not even a debate, it's there, helps
Mm-hmm.
you get more aware of what it is that that word means to you. But the way it's perceived is also very subjective, right? To their own experience. So when someone comes in and says, I want freedom, it's like, okay, immediate response
Yeah.
is what they
Mm-hmm.
know of. And I think that's the beauty of exchange in a that doesn't have agenda rather than just a simple uh, not
Curiosity.
yeah, and tell me more, curiosity about knowing what else is there until there's nothing left, and to get curious without feeling threatened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the feel threatened is that what do I do when I'm alone if I lose you? It's actually
Yeah.
the ache of love. Like I really don't want to lose you, but the ache of love to someone is really the ache of love experienced inside.
Yeah.
So that simple, intimate talk with self is it's more helpful to do it with someone else you trust fully to express yourself. So and you know, imagine sitting out there and saying, "Hey, we have a big project happening. It's going to take us 2 years, but let's find what the freedom means to both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about it. Every time it arises, let's talk about it. And we're not, we're not ending. There's no target to it, but let's invite it. Let's invite it if it means a lot. So I love that you're now having a bigger sense because just a year ago you didn't. two
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
ago.
Well, even a month ago, Melita, like
Yeah.
I was not here, and I didn't even hold the concept of freedom anymore. It was just like, yeah.
And can I just add something? There's something so beautiful with having someone you love see our freedom experienced. There's something
Mm-hmm.
so beautiful coming back to self, but being witnessed by the one we trust the most, which is the one we love and we chose for life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for it's almost like it invites so much love for self that you burst out that you want to give it away. Are you
Mm-hmm.
following? It's
Yeah.
like if you only saw me in my true light, you will love me the way I love me. And I
Mm-hmm.
will gain my love for self so much so that it will all turn towards you. But
Yeah.
there's this like desire, I think this longing is like it's and I'm crazy enough to think this is very possible when shared promise is there to hold the concept of container in which the exchange is occurring and mutation is occurring all the time because everything else is the past. But tomorrow I will evolve and be different. But can I blossom in front of you, knowing that you sharing myself with you is honor, to be to give yourself to another is really um full-blown trust in the other more than it's in self, because here you are opening to your total raw vulnerability, naked, opening all your wounds and what you are discovering in a process, trusting to give it away to someone who can easily just pour salt on the top of it. But no, you're
Hmm.
trusting that which you chose. Right. So the whole process is changing the more we exchange and we give it a different meaning. And I think that beauty of exchange is to give it a different meaning of what the process is. And again, come back to the cycle. It's just a cycle. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. But
Hmm.
I'm undergoing a massive change right now. And I really want to share it with you because I don't know how to, yeah, go.
Yeah. Yeah. And looking back, I didn't, I couldn't frame like how long this journey would take or what would be sacrifice or what would occur. And the difficulty was that it was being interpreted as a denial of the relationship and the partnership. And it was really more of like uh, the longing within myself to fully accept who I am.
Mm,
And it wasn't in spite of her, it was including her. And it was so hard to communicate that and find how to communicate it in a way that didn't feel like you said, like I'm gonna lose you or you're not choosing me anymore or this is the death.
yeah.
And so yeah, looking back, I'm like, wow, that took a lot of courage and a little bit of bravado, a little bit of bravado, a little bit of like, yeah, you might lose it.
Fine tuning the orchestra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 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 like when you're devastated, you lay on the floor and I asked you about callousness and you're like, no, it's just deeper understanding. So maybe that's what it is too. It seemed more courageous back then because it was new and potentially more damaging. And now it's like we're having the same conversations. It's just, but we're both calm about it and it's landing differently. And she's she's open to being curious, but she's also, and I'm open to her possibly getting hurt. Whereas before, it's like we both were kind of closed off to the other in that way.
Mm.
And when you're closed off to the other, you're closing off some part of yourself that doesn't want to see your shadows or
Mm.
or even like we don't even want to know that the shadows are there. It's like you don't have to
Yeah.
tell me. Yeah.
I mean,
But
it's involuntary. You have to actually make an effort to get to know your shadow.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a hard work, and that's why it's easy to say no to it. But can I just backtrack and say, you said I'm open to have her being hurt. What about you?
Hmm.
Because
It's
the same sentence just for you.
open to me being hurt. It's I don't know. I don't feel like I have control over that. Like if I hurt, I hurt and it happens. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Are you-
why I say that, because I think we choose we choose the partner to partner with someone who reflects what we need to work on. So often what happens is that the freedom that you seek the most will be taken away from you. Meaning, for the reason of you finding it back. And I'll just rephrase. My biggest gift, I recognize my biggest gift of storytelling when I was told that all I talk is shit by someone I loved. And all I do is just talk. And I'm like, wow, it took that much pain for me to receive directly the arrow into my wound. in order for me to take my wound and own it. Because in what you just said, you made me realize it is my biggest gift. It actually is my biggest gift. And it took you. So, wow, it took that much pain to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about in order for me to realize that I actually do know what I'm talking about. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like we actually meet these souls in connections that will trigger this biggest awakening in us, which made us love them even more once we realize that and don't become a victim of it. Because they need that mirroring is necessary. That's that ascendant and descendant. This is the furthest part of you across from you so far. Nothing else is that far as your other partner you choose. So that's why I invite that which you seek might be the most painful thing for you to realize as well.
Yeah, on a high concept level, I'm like, okay, paradox makes sense. That would be the approach.
Now you're like,
Um,
bring it
yeah,
on.
now I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm deeply curious, and I invite your honest awareness. Like, what do you see between Carly and I? Because the initial thought is like, okay, she experiences so fully and so like the first thing she experiences is the emotional side of the pain and her learning to accept that part of herself. So is that what I so there's a couple things. It's like, is that what I'm potentially accessing when I say I want freedom? Is this emotional depth that I've turned off? Or yeah, like how do you
Okay, I love it. And I don't know what related to both of you. I really don't know. But what I can tell you is that until it triggers something, you are in discovery phase. Because if once you have it, you're not gonna need it that much. You're not gonna fight for it that much. But for you to discover it, you need some sort of opposition.
uh
And it
okay.
invites you to discover what this is inside of you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now it's clicking now because when I when I boldly stood for freedom 2 years ago, it felt like okay, I might have to like run with these horses off the edge of the cliff.
Yeah.
Like I might
So
have
good.
to stand and face the army. I might have to get the arrows in my back. I might like it was very like
Shocking.
Aries. Yeah. And now I'm like it's very gentle. It's very
Yeah.
yeah, it just has a different quality to it. And I think when I now that yeah, you're kind of bringing stuff up for me right now. It's like okay, when I requested freedom, what did I experience initially? Was it freedom? Didn't feel like it. No, it felt like the worst. It felt like the opposite. It felt like deep trapping of this emotional
Prison.
conundrum of, yeah, like the prison of, okay, now we're stuck together and how do we
Yeah.
navigate as parents and you still want freedom and but I'm being denied and so like her pain and I was faced with her pain and yeah, it's interesting now. It's like what okay, so the calm that I'm experiencing now is the freedom. And I'm like, now when I say I want freedom, it's like more so I have it 90% of the time. It's just those little moments where I have to like recalibrate and come back to it. But it is an inner feeling. And before, maybe, maybe I didn't know that it was something within me. I thought it was something outside of me. It's funny because like not until you brought it up, I'm like, wait, did I not know that this was here? Did I not know that it was available? And yeah, maybe I had the idea of it, but to really have like that 90-10 flipped, I needed to go through the depths of hell and like Dante's Inferno.
Yeah. Yeah. And to purge, and what you're purging is really your own private self. It's like, oh no. So this like, and I love that actually it comes in such a explosive way to our
Mm.
realization. This is the crisis of the in evolution, right? So we call it the spiritual awakening or whatever spiritual crisis. It takes you and pushes you so much to your edge that you must do it. There's nothing. And then, you're lucky if you have someone holding you through that process and you too share the space of knowing each other and having a history enough. But now you're learning, okay, there's another wave of coming, of me evolving and breaking through my mold in order to become bigger and take on larger space. And you're sharing the same evolutionary processes together. And then when you come out of it on the other side, then, answers live in the future. Now it's
Yeah.
occurring. Now you have questions. You don't have answers. You will find answers later, but you have to stay until later. And
Yeah,
then you're
yeah.
like, oh, well, the freedom, what do you mean? I feel free. It's no longer
Hmm.
even a question, but it's not the last thing that will happen. The evolving parts of waves will occur and continue occurring. That's where it's like, let's talk about this. Be my neighbor. Let's have a coffee.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's
Mm.
interesting. We there's a couple. I'm like, how much should I share of other people? But I'm not using names, so I think it's okay. We have a couple friends who had their own exploration of freedom, two different couples, and took much more volatile routes through that, navigating it, and they're still kind of coming out. But it's interesting to see how they wound up back together, just with a new paradigm, a new understanding of what each person needs. Um,
Yeah.
and for Carly and I, like on the outside, it didn't look like we ever separated, but there was the emotional component, the emotional piece, and then the space that we needed, and that's what it comes back to is like ultimately, if you desire freedom in your life, you will be given space to feel the depths. You will be given space. It's like, oh, we want freedom and we think it looks a certain way. And there's a part of that that is, it's going to be painful for sure.
Yeah. If you want freedom, you'll be given a chance to fight for it
Yeah.
until you realize you actually had it the entire time. Right. So it's the same thing with any concept that we want. It actually applies to love,
Yeah.
to work, to earning money,
Yeah.
making money, being a millionaire. And then you have it and then you're like, oh, I was here entire time, right? So, but you
Hmm.
would be given, and I think these leaps are what are adult tantrums. You know how the children they go crazy and then in order to evolve into take a leap into a new as if they're pushing through it really hard and they have the tantrums and you
Yeah.
allow them to express themselves. It's like we don't get to do that, but we really need this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious. I say it all the time to Carly. I'm like, because we do the holds for the kids and let them experience it, and we tell them we love them, and we'll say to each other, we're like, everybody needs this,
Yeah.
and we have this interpretation, like we're all babies in a sense, and some of us didn't get to feel our feelings and to be held and told that we're safe, and it's like we all need it to some degree, but ultimately, like it's not for someone else to do for you. It's for you to find for yourself. To
Yeah,
that
and you
that.
know what that oh go ahead,
Mhm.
sorry.
No,
Please
no,
finish.
I finished.
But you know what that means? You're letting go of part of self in order to become new. And
Hmm.
that letting go is very heartbreaking, actually.
Yeah,
So the life becomes not leap into the new, rather the ability to let go of old, of us. All our life is letting go of us, and letting go is losing, letting go, loss of ourselves that we no longer can actually control because the new wants to come and emerge, and you can't help it, it's coming out.
yeah,
So it's a lot of goodbyes and goodbyes and goodbyes. It's actually the occurrences of death and rebirth again and again and again. over and over and over again.
Hmm.
So you see this now awareness of the cycles that are inviting you, invitation and invoking the new. But for new, you know, you have to close the old is occurring more frequent. So when I in sacred marriage he talks about becomes we, it's like you almost feel now it's your responsibility to be very transparent of what is occurring inside of you so the other can meet you at the beginning and hold you and meet you almost like holding your hand while you're passing through the passage and dying, actually dying through this process.
Mm.
This is where the part can we touch base on poetry?
Yes.
He did bring this up, and the music
Mm.
also. I really want to talk about
Mhm.
this. I mean, the diet too, but let's talk about the poetry, poetic genetics.
Yeah, I was gonna be surprised if we didn't touch on this.
We have to. It's so good because I was laughing and I was also really happy to read that he pointed out. I forgot about this part. But what I wanted to point here is that in the poetry is a dare to say everything we never do dare to say.
Mm.
And in poetry, you find recognition of parts of you that you hid from everybody, even yourself. So, the highest expression of human language is poetry. He goes, true poetry captures the hidden essence of what we cannot say in words. The secret is in the rhythm, the cadence, and the tonal frequency. So, I can recite the poetry throughout exact same poem throughout my life. And for every time I recite, I will, my frequency will change because something inside of me will speak the words of that are something inside of me that I experience through the words will aliven the words in a different frequency that are long dead. Does that make sense? So I find that you tune into the poetic expression, the deeper you go into self exploration. And last night, I literally stood in front of the library and I was like, I'm just going to grab poetry. And I read out loud my poetry. Oh my God, was I expressive through it? And I'm like, I'm reading as if there's an audience in front of me. I'm full on experiencing the words of it. And then I went to bed. Late night, I read for a good hour and a half standing. And I held it as if there's an audience in front of me. And I was like, wow, private chambers of expressing self. But I dare then to say what I never dared to speak of. I dare then to express parts of me private to my own self too. And I love that we are becoming more comfortable with expressing this. I am. I don't know how the poetry is going to look like, but I do know is that because it stamps deep feelings, it sustains the time. It stamps, it
Mm.
speaks out of these hidden feelings, and many find the recognition in them. It sustains the time, and it stays very much. It gets alive and again and again and again. That's I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's you're touching we touch the depths of human experience and that's shared across the aeons. Even yeah, what it means to be human, what it means to have a life and experience all that is involved in it. It's like you're touching something that is timeless and the way in which you express it and find words to attach to the experience itself is it's like the essence of poetry is to try to touch something that can't be translated in a direct fashion. So it's you have to use roundabout, you have to like, you know, it's like if you have an animal that you're trying to coax into being comfortable with you, you can't just directly approach it like a cat. It'll run away. Doesn't want to
Mm.
be captured. It wants to be free, the experience and the feeling itself. So we find resonance in the frequencies that we we emit through the depths, through the feeling. Yeah. I love it.
Totally. That's why it's hard to write it.
Yeah, it's
And you
really
remember
hard.
we were talking about that silence, that the deeper you go, you touch some parts of you that are silent, out of which then expressions in words gain different meanings. And this authentic, unique note of self discovery is that's the resonance. That's where that resonant and unless you're so deep inside, because you can read the poetry just to read it, and you can read the poetry to experience it. The two are different seasons in life, right? So you can't just read all the time poetry and be enmeshed with it. You have to be open to it, like almost like it is invitation to the space of silence and space of vastness that opens up, that we get touched differently and connected to differently. And, with the 55th invoking this level of evolution, I think we are going to be able to process, we're going to we're going to be able to process deeply our experiences together.
Hmm.
So when I come to you and I say, hey, I'm about to enter into my own freedom and I'm afraid deadly because I don't know what that means.
Hmm.
I'm going to hear what you're saying just as a line of a sentence, but I'm going to experience you in a different sense of beingness, right? So it's like almost this experiential thing becomes, oh, I know what
Hmm.
you're talking about, and I don't know how to explain it. Rather than let's just
Yeah.
sum it in one word and change the meaning of what the freedom actually means.
Yeah. And it's so like what came up for me when you said that was there's a fractalization that happens beneath the transmission itself, like through the tone, the word choice, and then just the emotion. It's like
Yeah.
the fractalization of experience, and we are evoked our own experiences as memories, and we're also evoked the imagination that's elicited out through our hearts and through like touching that.
Yeah.
And there's also like you can't just read poetry um as like a rote activity or like some aspect of like memorization or religious movement. Go talk to mom, buddy. I'm doing a podcast. Luca, go talk to Ngani. Go talk to mom. I'll talk to you later. My Virgo
Okay.
son is obsessed with money right now.
Oh, oh, really? Well, well, it's opposing everything.
Yeah. Um,
This-
hey, Luca, I'll talk to you later, buddy. Love you. um, yeah, so that fractalization and it's really beautiful. Um, and he says here too that the new awareness in humans will bring an end to so many things. One such ending we will witness will be the end of the question of how. We will stop our obsession with intellectual understanding. And I
Mm,
think I when I when I listen to like the Elon stuff or anyone talk about AI now or where we're headed technologically or what might happen in the future, there's this guy this guy who's in AI research and he's writing a book called Post-Labor Economics, like what happens to the field of economics when there's no more need for human labor, when there's
hmm
it's like what do we do? And I think all of it, the spiritual seeking, the technological evolution, the Aquarian age that we're entering into, is bringing us, like Osho said, like you will be utterly confused. The point is to be confused and to let go. And for some people, it's going to come through a nervous breakdown. And for
hmm
others, we approach it with this sense of curiosity and familiarity and open heartedness. Ultimately, and that's where I come from. Like the future is going to be great. Like we will be taken care of. I don't know if I'm going to have food, water, shelter, these things. I just know that I will be taken care of from a standpoint of it will be for my highest good. And I don't even know if that at some point, I'm assuming my life will end. So the concept of my, like, who am I and how this will play out, I've just let go of it because I understand that I can't possibly understand. And
Hmm.
that's the beauty in being in the moment. And I think poetry touches on that as well. Of like this love, loss, and longing, and this it is
But
it is from one standpoint, it is so fragile and so short and so delicate, and then from another standpoint, it's everlasting.
mm. Hmm. So poetic. Everlasting and ever dying, if you really think about it. Many
Hmm.
deaths just
Right.
for one you, for the final of whatever. And I think I love that the expressiveness of it is inviting rather than threatening, right? So it doesn't really. So you were saying it's like I'm able to let go of many things, which means that you are getting comfortable for more with ending of self, which is death, really, when you think about it. Curious, did you have not direct physical encounters of that, but did you have the experience of that coming at you and kind of having to sit with it for a minute? That in a form of thought or just an, I don't know, wave of energy or some experience or essence. The
In
more
reading
you,
this, or
in general, the more you feel you're more comfortable with the end. Did you have, do you have the experiences of ending facing you
hmm,
where you get to be invited to sit with?
hmm, yeah, I don't have a frontal experience like this thing that I have to look at. It's um when I t and for me when I touch, I notice it when I start to speak about death or when I speak about disillusion. I what I feel is um this how do I call it? This like emanation of self where the boundaries of what I am start to expand outward. And there's also this involution of, you could call it the spirit or just like this sense of otherness. And so it's not really like a frontal, like there's going to be a cliff and I have to
Mm,
face it or I'll be pushed off. It's more of like dissolve, dissolving energy, dissolution. And I think my experience of, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what else to do with that other than it feels like dissolving in liquid, like this blending, very watery experience itself. So I don't, yeah. And I have had near death experiences a few times, and so I don't know if that's helped me in being able to process and not feel a sense of crisis with it. But
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that sense of crisis is what is frightening, right? The sense of crisis or the crisis itself that occurs the moment we're faced with it. I don't know. I find it, you know, death and love, we said, is to me is the same thing. It's like you're gone
Hmm.
into a different space. It's just a changing the meaning for now. This suits the fear.
So
Mm.
how do you face it or sit with it or where does it show up?
So it was the Book of Neptune that actually opened this up for me because I have the Neptune dissolve of ego, dissolve of personality and self. in the house of death and rebirth. So apparently, I will be faced with the death over and over again in order to mature, or in order to get to a point where an actual process of dying is such a profound evolutionary process for me. And when I read it, I was like, holy shit, because each ending felt like dying. And
Hmm.
more I experienced the death of something or the end of loss of something, including myself and other people or processes or life or environments and everything, the more comfortable I was with it. So now I'm finding myself, okay, not curious about the process itself, but rather than these waves come in with like, oh, this can happen too. How do I feel? Oh, this can happen too. How do I feel? So this like constant reminder is there, comes to my awareness, and sometimes it's thought process, sometimes it's just a thought, not a process or a feeling of a sense, or like, so I hear, it's very much being like introduced to it over and over again. And really, what is that? The same. What is freedom? That can be the end of self that you wake up with the moment Neptune turns to Aries. It's like, boom, a clear cut of no more. And now you're faced with, oh, okay, wow. I guess I'm reading novels now, and I was such a nonfiction person. That to me is the death. It's like, and I just experienced this last
Hmm.
week. It's like I'm introduced into this way of thinking that I am no longer, I never knew it was there. And this world of fantasy land where clouds have names and they have relationships is like really hard concept for me to grasp. But does that mean I'm dying? The non-fictional stuff? Maybe. Is it time to end the nonfiction and start with fiction? Right. So I don't know, but I'm getting faced with it over and over again. And, even the thought that I'm looking at the airplane is also very much, wow, I'm about to hop on one. Right. So I'm getting faced with these things, and
Oh, okay.
I'm having a constant recurrence of reminders that the death is there, that I will end. It's just a matter of time.
Would you be calm in a plane crash, or would you panic?
I think if I only had 3 minutes, I thought about this many times. And because when the turbulence happened, it to me is very frightening. So I always have to come back to myself and breathe through the process of relaxing so I can relax my entire body. It's a constant thing when I fly in the recent 3, 4 years. And I don't know where this is coming from. So I would always have to actually breathe in and imagine myself free falling and being okay with that. Yeah. Still
Yeah.
frightening even to talk about it, but it does help to talk about
Yeah, and
it.
are you are you imagining like spinning, like tail spinning, or are you imagining you're like you get sucked out of the plane, or what?
I'm just dropping. I'm dropping until it's just black. That's the sense. And I'm closing my eyes and I'm relaxing my body into the full drop. But it frightens me more to have someone next to me. I think that is more frightening to see fear in someone else's eyes that I love with me than me, myself, and I. You
Hmm.
see, and that's where it comes that the responsibility is different. Then you're now responsible for that you love too. There's a certain occurrence of loss of the other that you love that occurs, that it's so much more frightening than the loss of self to me. I know it's deep. It's just this closed my heart so much and freeze. It's like, oh, right, but when in doubt, zoom out. So this is why that connection with the higher powers makes this life more bearable.
Yeah,
Totally.
maybe. We don't really know because we don't know what it's like to not be connected. But
Debatable. We don't, you and I, but
Yeah. Um, hmm,
mhm. Do you have
do I have?
the the do you face the endings? Do you face them? Do you feel them?
Um,
The portals, shall I say? Not the death, it's rather the portal.
yeah, I don't know. It definitely comes in different for me. Um, and uh, I could see how, from an outside perspective, how I seem cold and calloused on some of these topics. And
Mm,
if we're gonna take a flight too in a month or two, and if I imagine a plane crash, I become quite logical just because of all my training and experience.
mm,
So if things went like horribly wrong and it was like total loss of control, I imagine my body would respond quite strongly, but I think, and I would be sad to have the ending for Carly and the kids too, or even just the potential for it. And but I think there would be some element of deep acceptance of, again, I can't really relinquish this idea that I'm being held and that this experience is perfectly for me. I think I would
yeah.
struggle. I think I would struggle mightily with, if maybe you can interpret this for me, but if like we crashed, but we didn't die, and then it was like a recovery thing, and there was like injuries and major problems that were, and like living in that world, that's something I fear more than the
Mm,
ending itself. Like, like kind of terrifies me to think about like having the kids living in a hospital for any period of time or anything like that. Um,
yeah.
yeah, because it's more of just like
I
not
mean,
wanting my loved ones to suffer, and yeah.
see, that is much harder to accept. Even
Hmm.
the loss of the loved ones, like our parents, and you see, we're experiencing this no matter what, where you come from, you're gonna experience the loss of the loved one, your
Hmm.
universe that created you. And that is so, there's instant shock. But you see, and then I think about how prepared we are by default, unconsciously, to have the defense systems. That's why we grieve later. It hits us slowly in the face. It doesn't hit us all in a shock because we wouldn't be able to survive it. We're so fragile as humans, to experience the vastness of life. So we're
Yeah.
almost equipped. When you say, I trust that I will be taken care of, we are being taken care of, true. And still we have to face a certain fractals of it, what it is,
Yeah.
that it's
And it's
occurring.
interesting, like I don't know. I'm tempted to say like I've had many, 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 many experiences of deep fear and like soul clenching discomfort and just a huge amount of fear throughout my life. And it's tempting to say why that happened. Um,
Mm,
I don't know why, but it has happened. And like we talked about, this callousness around scars,
mm,
like there's not as much sensation there. It's a little bit more numb, but there is like a layer of skin that you can peel back, and then it is like extremely sensitive underneath. Like if you do lose a
yeah.
callus, then that skin, you're like, oh, that hurts. Um,
True.
So yeah, I don't know. Interesting. I want
Very.
to touch on music. Maybe we could transition a little bit. And in music here, this is where he was talking about what I
The
was trying to
longing.
find earlier, the longing. So the he talks about the triplet. It's always trying to resolve into another note. It's like this feeling of like, oh, we're almost there, and then it doesn't quite come. And he says it's the sense of has the effect of leaving the human heart hanging in the air.
Mm.
This longing is exactly what is expressed through the 55th gift. It is the longing to create more. Unlike duality, Trinity is not a straight line. It doesn't rest, but repeats, always free and always fresh.
So well said. I was free and I was fresh.
Hmm.
I was free and I was fresh.
The new human being will no longer try to escape the pure longing of life within him or her. We will no longer fear true freedom because we will operate from an awareness that is beyond the mind and its concerns about the future. It is the freedom of allowing the self to dissolve into the waves of the ocean. It is the freedom that is born through one's absolute trust in life. So
Mm.
maybe it's like I'm feeling into that more, but of course there's a spectrum. There's this like a musical note. There's a beginning of the note, and you can sustain the note if you think about a bow on a string, and then of course there's this ending. So maybe the metaphor is that we are notes within the symphony, and the quality of the note is our ability to access this freedom within this experience itself, and just trust that we will play and be played beautifully. Yeah, I don't know.
Mhm. It reminded me of this reel. I'm gonna send it to you. I actually saved it on my profile. And
Yeah.
he talks about the history of the symphonies all the way from whatever centuries back in the day when the choir was very sacred and from the Byzantine times, right? And then how we evolved our tonality and expressiveness in music. And then you're talking or like early 1800s, 1900s, and our composers composing softer music. And it's interesting to just see the timeline, which is really true. When someone puts it like that so easily to understand, is that how sacred it was, then harsh, then Beethoven and
Mm-hmm.
Mozart come in, Bach start fighting all these fights, and then slowly we're entering into a piano era, which is so fragile and so closing. It's like soft, and you you're almost like surrendered to what it is. It's beautiful to kind of have evolutionary
Would
path of
be
where we are going. There's no
yeah,
hip hop in
just
this. It's all classical music.
mm,
I'll send it to
beautiful.
you. Let me know what you think. But yeah, yeah. Well,
Hmm.
so much more to say on 55th, but we must
Yeah,
move on. Show must
it
go
isn't
on.
endless. I am excited about uh 56 onward because to me this feels like I feel like I've explored, obviously we've explored up to this point, but even before we got here, I was spending a lot of time in like the 30s because it's in my chart and
Mm.
the 20s, and I haven't seen a lot from 56 and beyond until I looked at yours and started peeking around.
Oh,
But
I
it's
have to.
it's relevant too because as we are in the anaretic for Neptune and Saturn,
Mm.
we
February
finish out
20th.
the yeah, we finish this out. So
February 20th, another nudge, another
Yeah.
What?
And
Another
solar
goodbye.
eclipse
Oh
three
my
days
God.
before that, and Chinese New Year, and a fire
Oh,
horse.
what are you in Chinese horoscope?
I'm a metal goat.
Oh, goat. Oh my God. And Carly?
Metal goat.
Oh, same age, same generation.
Mm.
Wow.
Where are you?
Fire tiger.
No way.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. A goat, I've never met a person. I mean, a person that I asked that is a goat. That's new to me. Do we get along, goats and tigers? I can eat you alive for
Yeah,
brunch.
yeah. Luckily you don't hunt me because I'm in the mountains. We're like separate.
That's true.
And
Wow.
well, I guess fire could eat metal if it's hot enough. Yeah.
I had my biggest ever relationship of my life, which made me me, um, that I still consider my home is Monkey. So
Mm.
she is Monkey. I and she would always we would always play with the monkey and tiger, and I was like, I would just enjoy bathing on the sun. She would
Hmm.
jump all over the place, and I would be like, don't let me take my paw down on you. It's like I would smash it with a paw, but I loved the playfulness because she would always pull my tail, or ears, or my
Yeah.
hair, and pull my lips apart, and she would always play with it, and I loved it, and I miss that. That's the home, the monkey, and so I'm a good
Yeah, in
animal.
the jungle. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
All right. Woohoo.
Thank you so much.
Bye.